I love you people. Now let's talk about something cool. Phantasm. A film created by a guy named Don who really enjoyed making a scary haunted house scene in another film, so he read a book, had a nightmare about being chased by a chrome ball down a hallway, and rented a camera on Friday from a place that was closed on the weekends and had 3 days to film. Isn't it crazy how everyone has an HD camera on them at all times these days? The film opens with "Whoa!" in the graveyard. This is Tommy and his magnificent mustache being ridden by the Lavender Lady. But her boobs are a different actress. And she stabs him. She's actually really old. Women, am I right? At the funeral, we meet Jody and Reggie, played by Reggie. I guess the official story is Tommy pulled down his pants and stabbed himself in the belly in a graveyard. Common tragedy. But the real tragedy is Reggie's hairline at only 34. Jody walks around the inside as his brother Mike, played by Mike Baldwin, is tearing it up on a dirt bike in the graveyard.
The funeral is about to begin, sir.
This is Angus Scrimm as the Tallman. He's pretty average height, you know what I mean. By funeral, I guess he meant the wake. Mike is stalking around with binoculars, because, well, you know, it's the late 70s and he's bored of motorbiking and he doesn't have, like, Nintendo or stupid YouTube movie reviews to watch instead. He's watching the funeral from afar with Reverend Reggie's dad. The binocular effect is literally cut up cardboard. But after everyone leaves, the tall man just picks up the balsa wood and styrofoam casket and tosses it in the back of his car. And he lifts with his back instead of his knees. What the hell? So concerned about this, Mike checks in with the Dark Brotherhood by the palm tree. It actually turns out to be the fortune teller, who might just be a mannequin, as her granddaughter Terry interprets her. Instead of talking about the tall man, Mike is more concerned that Jody might leave him.
Now that the kid's 13, I'm thinking of sending him off to live with his aunt.
She loves him so much, he's gonna abandon him.
Grandmother has told you before not to worry. If he does leave, he'll take you with him.
But then Jody remembers about the tall man, and I guess like the extended scene of the tall man using the force to push him off his bike. I guess he ran out of mana, so Mike escaped. So Grandma jump cut transitions a box. And Mike has to stick his hand in there and not feel fear. Wait a minute. So Fear's the mind killer, but Mike thinks that's bullshit and leaves. Which Grandma thinks is hilarious. Reggie the Ice Cream Man's on break, and I guess the movie is too, so him and Jody play a little.
You see, my lady left me lonely. Yes.
I was hoping they would have played Iceman. But Reggie does have a tuning fork, which will be important later, as granddaughter makes it to the morgue. This funeral home's fucking huge. The exterior of this plantation is the Donsmer House in Oakland, California, as seen in a couple other films, but the interior is a set. Then Jody heads to the bar and picks up Lavender in like 3 seconds. Mike, leave your brother alone. It's not weird porking a girl in the graveyard, but it is because your friend was just buried there. And even weirder, your brother wants to watch. But perving on brother is interrupted by a Jawa. So Mike runs for it, just as Jody got to first base. So Jody yells at Mike and has to look for Lavender after, but I guess she took off commando style. Later, Jody deals with Freddy Krueger 7 years too early. So Jody goes to the bar and Mike is behind him, and the movie's repeating itself. This is an actual real bar in Long Beach, California. But Jody can't even enjoy a Tootsie Roll Pop as the tall man is strutting by, and he struggles to not grab Reggie's ass. Jody's shooting the shit with the bar guy, as Mike is fixing up the car, but it falls on him. He's fine. He sees someone and bonks him on the toe.
Ah! My fucking foot, man.
They were jumping on the car and making these weird sounds.
Sure wasn't that kid Timmy up the street?
So bro won't listen, so Mike has to take this into his own hands, heading to the funeral home and bashing in the window to get in. But inside, he's a little more stealthy as he sees the caretaker, and eventually finds the special door. Then we get the most iconic thing of the Phantasm franchise as Mike is chased down the hallways by those balls that Cartoon Network had ads for all the time. The caretaker finds him, but luckily for Mike, the caretaker gets the ball placed on his head and taken off and played in reverse so it looks like it landed on him. And it forks him and starts drilling. Ew, nasty. And he pisses himself when he dies.
Ew! I didn't know they... Ew!
Yeah, they never show that part on TV.
Because apparently the pissing nearly got this film an NC-17 rating. So you can show a man drilling in between the eyes and getting blood squirted out like a fire hose, and that's fine. But someone peeing when they die, that's too much. America. But the Tallman finds him and chases him, and he gets his hand comedically stuck in a door. So Jody cuts his fingers off and he bleeds mustard, and his fingers still twitch even separated. So Mike takes one of the fingers and shows Jody, and Jody actually believes him. Any other movie would have said, "Oh, Mike, you prick, that's just a party trick." But no, Jody's actually smart. So Mike recaps, and they want to show the sheriff the finger, but it has morphed into a small housefly. So they shove it down the garbage disposal. As Reggie comedically walks in like a sitcom asking, "You guys want to help with some ice cream?" "Ah, the fly is still alive." So they try it again, and it works the second time. Reggie's confused, but Jody decides to head out by himself, and he's jumped by Jawas. So Reggie shoots him right above his head. I keep calling these things Jawas, but you also gotta realize this film was in production around the same time, so this is a massive coincidence. And yes, they literally are the neighborhood kids in robes. So Jody runs for it, and Mike picks him up. Cue car chase as Jody's blasting the other car with a shotgun. They investigate the crash, and the Jawa driver was Tommy, who's been crushed in size and bleeds mustard, and he's grown a full beard since he died. So they recap what happened to Reggie, and Reggie literally suggests they want to stomp the shit out of the Tallman. They'll call that Plan B, as Jody wants Mike sent to a safe place. The antique shop we haven't seen before instead of just his house. And while looking through all Sally's antiques, he finds the Tallman in one of those old-timey lenticular photos. So Mike just wants to go home. Reggie's hearing weird noises. Mike is dreaming about Jody with the Tallman. While on the car ride, Mike finds the ice cream truck overturned, and the body escaped, and Jawas attack. The Jawas get Sally and what's-her-face as Mike's forced through the back window, and he runs home, making this a little pointless. They could have just had him getting taken home by Reggie and attacked. Makes it home and tells Jody everyone's gone, so Mike is locked in his room with a screwdriver in the door. So Jody comes up with a plan. He has a shotgun shell for reasons, and he scotch tapes it to a hammer that he just has in his room, and he bashes a hole in the door with it. In reality, the shotgun shell would just explode and go everywhere and just hurt Mike. Tallman picks him up, but Jody luckily grabbed the gun and shoots out the tire to the hearse, escaping. Then the hearse blows up and Jody legs it to the funeral home. Balls. But luckily, Jody's there and shotgun beats balls. So the two find the special door. But first, Reggie is alive, and they open the special door to find Discord light mode and a bunch of barrels. And inside the barrels are Jawas, and on the other side is two poles that make a portal. Mike goes in and finds Discord red mode, and the Jawas on a planet. Jody pulls him back. So the Tallman's an alien from another dimension who takes the form of a human, and takes corpses, squashes them down to be Jawas, and enslaves them in his dimension. Everyone got that? We'll eventually find out what the balls are. But the lights go out and Jawas attack. Jody makes it outside somehow. Reggie is still in the White Room, and he realizes the portal has a frequency, like his tuning fork. So he just grabs the tops of it to stop it, which stops Lavender Lady for stabbing Jody. Also sends the portal in the suck. Reggie just wants to help Lavender Lady, but she stabs him. Women tomorrow, whatever. The brothers get out of there and come up with the idea to trap the Tallman in the bottomless pit. He heard them. Mike has run half this film. But eventually they get the Tallman into the hole. They dump giant styrofoam rocks on him. But it was all just a dream. Reggie's still alive. Jody isn't. I guess it wasn't a dream after all. More Nightmare on Elm Street foreshadowing. Final body count? 5. Not counting Mike. This movie's wild, man. It's silly, it's creepy, It's complicated. I really love the relationship between the two brothers, and even with Reggie, it just feels real. And I love the music. It's like Goblin meets Synthwave. Entomb did a cover of the theme, and it's the best thing ever. The theme song in the film itself has a very dreamlike atmosphere, which kind of works. It might be a little too complicated for some people, and there's definitely a lot of scenes that don't need to be here, like with the girls and the antique shop. The film's not for everyone, and I love how personal these series is to the people who made it. But overall, I enjoyed myself, and I think people should at least give it a shot. 8.5 out of 10. Make sure to hit that like button, share your friends, comment your own thoughts and opinion about Phantasm, and subscribe if you're new.